Running in the autumn and winter months is tough. It's cold, it's dark, it's wet, and honestly, sometimes the hardest part
is just getting out of the front door.
But winter is also the season that makes the biggest difference to your fitness. Stick with it now and by spring you will be unstoppable. Today I'll share my top tips to stay safe, motivated and consistent when the weather isn't on your side. First, let's talk about safety. Shorter days mean more time running in the dark, so make yourself visible. Invest in high-vis running tops. Now, fluorescent clothing works well when there's daylight,
And in the dark, reflective clothing works best.
reflective kit bounces light back from cars, from street lights. So my top tip is to invest in some of these reflective running strips. Put them on moving parts like wrists and ankles, and that shows drivers that you're a person and not a stationary object. Incidentally, if you're wearing fluorescent clothing in the daytime, the yellows and greens are the most visible, and drivers can see you in those for up to about 500 metres, possibly more. It's slightly less with oranges, reds and pinks, but they are still highly visible. What about lights? Well, a head torch means you can see where you're going, and flashing lights on you help you to be seen.
You've got a choice of such products. There are lots of different ones out there. One I like is these green flashing light armbands. So I've just set out recently on this run and I am quite cold at the moment. However, I just know from experience that that will only be for a few minutes. Before long I'll have warmed up, my body will have adapted. So really I think it's quite important just to recognise and accept that you will be cold for a bit, but also be mindful of the fact that it doesn't last too long.
So what about what to actually wear to dress for cold weather? Well, the trick is actually layers. So what I would suggest is that you wear a base layer, and then on top of that you put your normal running top. Like I said, I do recommend fluorescent colours. These don't have to be particularly thick. It is more about the actual layers that you're wearing that help to keep you warm. It's a good idea to wear a warm hat, especially one that covers your ears.
Personally, I really feel the cold in the extremities, so my toes are cold right now. My hands are freezing, so it's the first time I've worn gloves. I'm still cold, and I wish I'd actually worn two layers, so two thin pairs of gloves. This is what the science tells us actually about keeping warm. It is better to wear multiple thin layers than one thick layer. So technical tops, like your typical kind of running gear, is made from that thin wicking material. So it helps keep you relatively dry to wick sweat away from your body.
Another top tip from me is a buff, which you can wear because your neck can be exposed. So if you put a buff on, that's a good way of protecting your neck.
Okay, so to be honest, I'm one of those practical guys who's more interested in, what works, like what keeps me visible, what keeps me warm. But you might be a stylish kind of person. And of course there are lots more options out there. You can get lots more fancy and stylish products that also do these jobs of keeping you warm, keeping you visible, and everything that you need to get out in the autumn and winter months.
Avoid heavy cotton tops like these. They actually soak up your sweat and will just make you get cold fast. Technical running tops like this actually wick the sweat away from your body, so it's better to wear multiple layers of these than thick heavy cotton. So what about the big one, motivation? When it's pouring down and the wind's howling outside, it's so tempting to just skip the session. My tip, don't wait for motivation, rely on routine. Lay your kit out in advance so it's good to go, and most importantly, adopt that mentality of I am going. Make that always your default position. There's no room for a mental conversation in your mind. Should I run, should I not? Excuses. Just have it in your mind, have that mindset that it's just what you do and you are going to do it. You might want to buddy up with a friend, because then if you're committed to that, well, it's harder to bail out, isn't it? Or alternatively, you might want to reward yourself and give yourself a bit of motivation through your own running playlist. Play yourself some of your favourite tracks while you're out there.
When it's cold, you really have to think about your warm-up, so you might do a longer warm-up, but I would say also a more steady warm-up. So just making sure that you start off walking, so just just get yourself moving and just gradually going into a very easy jog. And I'd be doing that for a little while before starting any dynamic stretches.
If it's raining and it's raining particularly heavily, you might look out the window and think, I'm not going out in that. But guys, sometimes you're just going to toughen up a little bit and think about it. Nothing terrible is going to happen. Just embrace it. It's an amazing thing. It's just the weather. So when I go out, I just think about making sure that I can keep the rain out of my eyes. So I wear a cap for that. Other than that, I just allow myself to get wet and just accept it. And you might find that you actually enjoy it. So what I would say, my top tips for rainy, wet weather are to keep the rain out of your eyes. Make sure that you're wearing trainers with good grip, so don't be wearing really old ones. And just accept that you're going to get wet. If you really don't want to do that, you can get waterproof, like lightweight waterproof jackets like this one, which I might sometimes wear like in extreme circumstances, and they usually have a hood as well. So that's an option that you've got. But really, I just recommend just get out there, guys. Don't worry about a little bit of rain.
So you might not be very motivated to go out when it's rainy and it's not the kind of weather conditions that are particularly motivating for you. So one option is to do some warm-ups indoors actually. I've got video incoming follow through where you can join in with that, so check out the Finish Line Focus channel for that. But also I've just actually found a sheltered spot nearby. I've just walked here and I'm just going to do some warm-ups here under the shelter of these trees before I start my run proper. So we're thinking very, very carefully about the possibility of slips. It's no good going out for a run and slipping and injuring yourself and then you can't run for a while. So considerations to avoid slips are the surface that you're running on. So paying attention to that. Are there things like leaves? Could it be a metal surface? Anything else on there like painted road markings can actually be quite slippery as well. And of course slowing down for corners. So it's always worth considering those things, just to keep yourself safe and have a successful run. So I'm going very slowly on this surface. It is slippery and I'm being especially careful on bends, slowing right down. It's not worth risking an injury for the sake of doing a faster run in these conditions. It's more important to do the run, but I can actually feel the sense that I could slip quite easily on this surface, so I'm going really slowly. And what I've done is I've increased my cadence, so I'm actually taking more steps and they're shorter steps, and this is because that will reduce the chance of slips. So I'm prioritising having a successful run rather than a fast run. This boardwalk that I'm running on this morning is wet, so I'm making reasonable adaptations. Firstly, I'm wearing my grippiest of grippy shoes, and I'm going really slowly as well. I think that's a reasonable adaptation to make. It's just not worth the risk of injury. It's better to adapt your run so that you can continue running on subsequent days. So I'm wearing a cap today which keeps the rain out of my eyes, so that helps keep me safe as well, and it also just helps me to enjoy my run.
Radiators and running shoes do not go together. This is because the glue and the foam could be damaged from the direct heat from the radiator. So instead get something absorbent like some newspaper or some other kind of paper, stuff that inside your shoes, put them in a dry place.
Other small things to consider, well not small really, important things, would include leaves. Leaves can make a slippy, messy mulch, and a really big no-no is if there's been a lot of frost and there's ice. It's just not worth the risk. If there's ice around, you're very much at a heightened chance of injury in those circumstances. So really, it's better to just, I hate to say it and it sounds strange, but don't do your run if there's a genuine risk of a slip from ice, you're going to get injured. That's going to put your running back massively. If you're really desperate to do your exercise, get on the treadmill, a static bike, or some resistance exercise. But I always say, just kind of forget about it if there's ice.
So if you get into the habit of going out whatever the weather, no matter how cold, windy, rainy it is, no matter how dark it is, you're going to toughen up. And when it comes round to actually doing your races, if that's what you're aiming for, you're going to be in such a good position for it mentally.
Bear in mind that this is actually a very beautiful time of year, so if you're out at dawn or dusk, you've got a good chance of being able to see some views like this.
So guys, let's embrace winter running. Get visible, dress smart, trust your routine, and adapt when you need to. If you train through the cold, dark months, you will be amazed at the progress you've made by the time spring comes around. Guys, let's have a comment from you below. What is your biggest struggle when it comes to running in the darker, colder months? So is it the dark? Is it the cold? Is it motivation? I would love to hear what you struggle with most and perhaps what you do about it. And don't forget to subscribe to keep yourself on track with running tips all year round. Let me know how you're getting on, guys, and happy running.